Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Hey, welcome to Never Been Promoted. Hi, I'm Thomas Helfrich, your host. We are live today with Evgeniy Kharam. He is an author of Architecting Success. He's a cybersecurity expert. He advises all the time on this, and he's the founder of softskillstech.ca. And our topic today is about learn some soft skills and change your world, or even change the world. We're getting big now. And we're going to talk about that here shortly with our guest. Before we get going, I always state our mission, which is to help entrepreneurs get better at entrepreneurship by cutting that tie to all the kind of shit holding you back. And it's fears. It's a cycle of fear and that you have and excuses you make. And in the middle of that is you. I don't know if you knew that. Fears, excuses, they kind of go around, they chase each other, and you're in the middle enabling it. So until you've maybe also gotten rid of a former self that you need to kind of cut the tie to, you won't advance in life or in entrepreneurship. So that's what we're here to do. One shameless plug for myself always is to go to youtube.com and subscribe at Never Been Promoted. And if you listen to the podcast, give it a 5-star review. It really means a lot to me personally, our guests, and our mission. So let's bring in our guest here, Mr. Evgeniy. How are you?
Hello. You just mentioned fear. It's actually quite interesting. I was talking to someone yesterday, and fear and excitement very close to each other. Fears mean I'm afraid it's not going to work. Excitement is the same, but it's working. So if you just translate fear to excitement, everything's going to go well.
Well, exactly. So fear is typically of knowing a pain ahead, right? Or a perceived pain. So it could be death. It could be like, oh my God, that's going to hurt, right? Or an unknown. And an excitement is excitement for something known, like, because it's pleasurable, but also the excitement of the unknown for some people is awesome. Like, I know what's going to happen. I love this. Like, and that's a fear for others. And it truly is like right in that spectrum of known negative or known positive and something in between. So if you can get the middle part to be just excitement, I think you're moving in the right
I
direction.
think roller coasters are a very good example. We are scared to go, we're afraid, and we're going to be excited when we're actually going to be doing that. Most of us, at least.
I don't like them. I'm like I was 6'3". I've shrank. So I'm a little under 6'2" now. And even still, I'm just like, the worst part of those was my knees getting just ripped in half for the cart in front of you. And it was just like such not an enjoyable experience. I'm like, I don't really like G's. The feeling of my stomach being in my nose, or the fact that this roller coaster looks like I could fall over. None of that really excites me. I don't know how people do it. It's probably fear-based, but it's also like, I don't see it's risk reward. You're in Toronto, correct? I believe.
Toronto, Canada, yes.
It's we were off camera. We're kidding. I was like, well, basically it's Europe because it's not America, so we don't know. For our European audience, Evgeniy, even not anyone listen, you can say his name that way too, but we're gonna say Evgeniy because we in America cannot pronounce names. But if more time
try to move me to Eugene as well in America, quite a lot of time in US and Canada.
That's too old of a name. It's too old of a name. Way too old.
It's a name. Everybody's their own. I prefer my Evgeny name, and it is. I don't want somebody to change who I am. I want to be my own person.
You should be your own person because everyone else is taken. Just to be clear, most people. There are people who have checked out. You probably could become, or identity theft. That's an option as well. Not a good one, but an option nonetheless. Do you want to back up and talk about what we're gonna go ahead and tease your book and kind of our topic today about learning soft skills. Since we're talking about entrepreneurship, just how that is so critical to entrepreneurship specifically. There's bigger things in the world that's affected by. But start with the tease and back up to kind of how we got there with you.
Yeah, definitely. So people ask, okay, you're a cybersecurity advisor and consulting person. What is the relationship to soft skills? And what I tell people is that it doesn't matter how smart I am, how smart you are. If you're consulting to someone, if you're explaining something to someone, you need to take what you think, put it aside, and understand how they think, how they consume information, what is the terms, metaphors they will understand, and talk their language. If you put an accounting person and a developer person in the same room, and each of them will use the acronyms they use with their friends, they will not understand each other. We need to change how we communicate, and we need to change how to connect to people. So by consulting to C-level people, VPs, and many, many other executives, I very quickly learn that I need to change how I speak. I need to change what I tell them. Put on top of this second time immigrant, my English is not perfect. I used to speak very, very quickly. Still I am, but I learned to how to slow down. I learned how to replace filler words to pauses instead of hi, I'm Evgeny. I learned how to just slow down and have pauses and many, many, many other things because I fundamentally believe before I try to pitch you anything, before I try to explain you anything, I need to connect to you on a personal level. And when I connect to you personal level, now you care. Put on top of this that majority of the business now done online. What I mean by this, Zooms, Google Meets, Teams, and all the
Mhm.
other applications, it's mean we are distracted. Like I have four screens here. I may be looking to you. I may be looking to a different screen, even though you see the side of my face. I may be taking notes on the side, but you thinking I'm eating spaghetti. Like there's so much going on when we talk somebody over Zoom. There is almost no personal connection, but you can create it. You can find it. You can adjust it that you will care more and you will create much meaningful connection.
Well, it's interesting 'cause soft skills have typically been in person, like you said, like it's how you communicate. But I think a language piece, the pauses. I'm one who speaks quickly and always has to condition myself to take a breath, find a pause, and you feel like when you're doing that, by the way, like right, it brings the listener in because they're like, why did he pause? Did he just have a small stroke or what happened? That's how you feel. At least that's how I feel inside. But I think specifically when you're talking about digital soft skills, and we can focus a lot with that. It's also the soft skills of how you communicate in an email. It's and if it doesn't match to how your personality is, I think that's okay, and I'll explain that because I am one who likes to put what I need to say just in the subject line and leave it. It's terrible to do with customer communication, and I find myself doing that with customers I'm comfortable with, but I know it's a horrible thing to do. This is a good GPT use, by the way, is don't do that. Be as professional as possible. Um, so how did you get into soft skills though? Like, like really dive into like this passion a bit. Cause I know this is something you've written about. This is something like that's how did you find
Yeah.
your passion around this? Architecting
My
success
passion, yeah,
vocation.
my passion came by doing my work. And my passion came because I'll come to a customer. I need to explain to them very technical terms. And I learned that if I use the connection part, if I put excitement in my voice, if I create the connection when we're walking to the hall from the meeting me, if I do all this, then my information will stick much more. My passion also came from a different side. I had the opportunity to work with a very big service provider in Canada and in US as well. If you ever know you watch Shark Tank, I used to work for a guy named Robert Horjovic for 16 years. So I had the opportunity to work with many vendors that pitch the customers and explain the customers. And I didn't like how they pitched. It will be in many cases, hi, I'm a salesperson. Let me show you my amazing PowerPoint. And then the engineer will come and say, let me show you the demo I created yesterday night. And nobody kind of asks the customer what the customer wants. If there's a better way to provide them the information, if there's a better way for them to show, are you an audio person? Are you a visual person? Are you a kinesthetic person? Maybe you want the information to be distilled and provided differently. All these small parts contributed to I don't like this part. Oh, I like this part. This is what I do and work for me. So let's combine all this together and see what we can do. And in consulting, and not just consulting, I can ask you, hey, do you like blue or black color? And you will say, what? I don't know. Which color do you like?
Clearly blue.
Really blue. But this doesn't really move the conversation anywhere, correct? But I can ask, hey, Thomas, can you describe your favorite color and why? Now you have to talk.
Now you have to open it up a little bit, right?
Yes.
I like that. The why. The why is always important. So, in particular, let me ask. I don't want to lead the witness here. So, how do you think why works with? Add this into your like web copy, your how you communicate. So that's web copy. That's content. Do you find that soft skills are found in this? Like you're it's personal because you wrote it, or are you defining maybe the soft skills more just when you're actually interacting with somebody either through digital media like a email or Zoom or in person? Do you feel like this? I guess the question is, does the soft skill does that transcend into content, into copy, things that are maybe a little more static?
I think soft skills, by definition, are very dynamic because they'll change all the time, and how you communicate with this person will change all the time. I cannot just copy paste the same communication to everyone. It's going to stick. The joke I'm making is if I ask ChatGPT 5 times how you doing, it will reply the same time, the same way every time. If I ask Thomas how you doing, and the fifth time you're going to punch me in the face, like Evgeniy, what WTF? Like, why are you asking the same stuff all the time? So soft skills are very dynamic, and they're actually not so soft if you think about that, because you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be more vulnerable. You have to try new stuff. And I'm not sure if I'm exactly answering your question, but let me know.
Well, no, I get it. So I guess my point is, if you have good interaction and communication skills, soft skills, I believe this. I don't believe. I believe that when you start mastering that, you'll start seeing benefits and other things that you write or
Yes.
communicate. And it could be email, it could be your articles, it could be your content, it could be how you reply to people in comment or thread. It starts transcending downstream into other things, how you interact with your kids, your wife, like something like that. That was my kind of leading the question is
Yes.
the
It's
benefits aren't
more,
just
yeah.
defined of interaction.
I think one of the bigger benefits that I see personally and other people as well, that we are less afraid. We talk about afraid, and you mentioned in the beginning that we shouldn't be afraid to cut the tie and do stuff that we wanted to do. You're less afraid to make mistakes. In many cases, we're not doing something because we're afraid we're going to make a mistake. Then we decided not to do it at all. When you going on this path of soft skills, of vulnerability, of opening up, trying new things, being dynamic, have a curiosity, you're much more okay to make a mistake. You're okay that you made the typo most of the time. You're okay that somebody laughed at you. You're okay. Like, I was leading a panel a couple of months ago, and literally, like the moment I started to introduce people, I had blood coming out of my nose. I'm like, "Ah, hello, hello." And I didn't know what to do, laugh or cry, because it was a live show. But I was already on a journey, and I realized, okay, I screwed up. It's fine. Let's just smile and wave and then joke about it. And if you asked me about this 10 years ago, I didn't understand how people can go on stage, make a mistake, laugh about it, move on, and like, how we just do this? It's not possible. And then I realized it's possible because you're a human being. And in many, many cases, people will actually be attached to us much more if you make mistakes versus if you're the Hollywood star and you never make mistake. It's everything looks perfect at this screen, then there is
Mhm.
no connection. Because it's like, okay, this is a god. You're never going to be like that. Well, this is a human being. He make mistakes. I can do it as well.
You're spot on, and I'll give you my personal example of why I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. And what I love about Pearl Jam is they'll be playing a song they've played for almost 30 years or more, and they'll forget the words. And I'm like thinking, how in the world? Now, maybe there's alcohol and things involved, but the point being is, I actually like the band more because it just makes it more or less. By contrast, I also like a band called Dave Matthews Band. But when you see them live, there's almost never an error. They're such a well rehearsed band. I'm like, well, I don't want to see what I could just play on a CD, right? I want to see like some differentiations, life. And anyway, so the point being is, you're right. You identify better with the change and the variance or the mistake or the humility and the vulnerability of somebody. Um, Transcend that into maybe sales. Does that become an intentional
Huge.
thing where you can create the human effect? And is that something you practiced or coached or recommend?
You definitely see. So first of all, we all selling all the time. Which tie we're gonna wear, which color, which movie
It'll be
we're gonna
blue
watch,
every time. It's
which
going to get cut off, just to be clear.
food we're gonna eat. Like we always selling at home, internally, at work as well. But if you translate it to people that's actually selling stuff, that's become fundamental because of the part of the sales process, you need to connect to other human being. At least I would love you to connect to other human being. You need to explain and understand what they want. If you just have like a one kind of framework and one pain to go and just one way to go, you're not going to go far because the moment somebody will deviate from your path or will answer differently, you'll not be able to move forward. But if you're dynamic, if you understand that stuff may change all the time, maybe you had a perfect conversation with the person and then that step in a paddle and now everything changed for them. They're no longer the same because they're angry. So you need to adjust. You need to understand that something happened. And it's mean that you may need to talk differently, tell them about different things. We also have this entire idea of educated customers. If you think about that, if you want to sell someone a vacuum cleaner, a car, a cybersecurity product, or whatever it is, there's a good chance they can go on ChatGPT, put the name of their brand, and learn about the brand, only if the brand is out for like a week, maybe
Mhm.
not. So this way, as a salesperson, you have to adjust, you have to be dynamic. And again, if you're selling over Zoom, it's much harder because if you on lunch, dinner, or in a meeting room, you have their full attention. If you're selling over the media, they can say, yeah, this is amazing. Oh my God, such a nice product. And they're just scrolling Facebook on a different screen.
Yeah. Well, let's learn something. So, what's like in learning architecting yourself, your success through soft skills? Like maybe give us the uh, this is a must. Like give us the like table stakes that maybe people don't even realize are table stakes or
Yes.
achievable. So, like you said, like oh my God, how does somebody own a mistake on stage like that? What are some like maybe a myth dispelled that like and here and say what that is maybe or whatever you'd like to go with it. But then what do you do about it? Like how do you take it to the next level?
So depend if it's a sales or whatever we're trying to do. But I think must right now, one is because we're spending so much time online and we're speaking so much online versus traveling with meeting people. We need to record yourself on our phones or whatever you want to use it. And when you record yourself, analyze your voice. Understand what type of mistakes you're making. If you don't know, go task your friends and not the friend that say, yes, you're amazing, the friend that give you the truth. If they're not helping, then find a mentor or find a coach that will help you to analyze your voice and become a better speaker in general. Because if we're communicating over words, it will help. You mentioned email. The same can be done over the email as well. Have somebody analyze your communication or even upload some of the emails to ChatGPT. Make sure there's nothing proprietary in the emails before you're doing that and do that as well. Now, when you in sales and you're doing a research and a discovery that I hope we all do, the one of the easiest things to do is go on LinkedIn, put a person name, and understand a bit about them. It literally takes 40 seconds. Where did they learn? Which school? Which language they're speaking? Which some of the hobbies, if they have hobbies there as well to see. This may help you to navigate the conversation, find the hooks or the reverse hooks to communicate with them. This is like the simple things. The other part is how you ask questions. We already touched on this. Are you using an open style question or closed style question? Depend what you do. In majority of the cases, when you're trying to learn more, you're using open style questions. When you get to the point when you need to understand, would you buy this product this quarter? Is there a budget for this product this year? It's become a closed type question. Or how many licenses do you need? So we need to navigate and understand when we use what type of questions. The other part that I see is missing is the soft skills and communication in teams. If you working as part of the team, like a salesperson, a sales engineer, find a way to connect, find a way to communicate. How the way when you on the call with the customer, how are you going to help each other? Are you going to use some kind of chat messengers? Are you going to use a Google document or something else? And reverse this communication. What was reverse? Practice this communication because team is a team. They can help each other. They don't have to be superstars by themselves. They can, but together they kind of elevating themselves much more.
How much can this really affect somebody though? Like, so do you have a use case or something? Because I think sometimes, let's talk about use case for sure, because we're like transformation, if you will, of somebody, because, and it could be you, but, or anybody else, but I think sometimes people don't realize some parts of change of how effective they can be. Like, oh, okay, if I talk a little nicer, like, like I believe the success of anything is done in the subtleties in the details, right? And being a 5 or 10% more effective in your communication, or being that much more likable is the wrong word, relatable or trusted, those things go super far
Oh,
for.
there is studies that soft
Yeah,
skills
so
may
talk about that,
impact
'cause I don't think sometimes people
communication.
realize how impactful this is
Yeah,
to their
there
actual
is
success.
studies that saying that effective communication, soft skills, can improve your basically outcome by 30, 40% on what you're doing right now. There is study, this is for sales. There is studies that saying that effective communication, understanding each other in teams, is increasing the productivity of the teams by 60, 65% and even more. There's quite, I don't have all the numbers right now, like on all the companies. I can find them later on to show, but there's quite a lot of studies that showing the effective communication and the soft skills, how important they are of day by day in sales, in teams, in engineering, between the people as well. And you know what? A simple example. If you any of you watch basketball during Olympics, we always say is how the people from NBA are amazing, but they all superstars by themselves, all MVPs, and how European back to Europe are maybe not as best individually, but as a team they play much better. And in many cases, they're showing better results versus the superstars by themselves.
Well, to me, it always blows me away in the Olympics, for example, by the way, how I don't know how the US does win by 80 every time. Anyway, it blows me away. Uh, the uh, the don'ts of soft skills. What is one
Assumption.
thing that people
Okay.
do? I mean, like almost anybody who's not maybe trained or conscious of it. What is something that we all do that we just have to stop doing?
It's a good one, actually. I think one of them is assumptions that it's not gonna work. So
Oh,
basically
so
giving up.
predisposed outcome or the predetermined outcome,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Giving up.
Well, there's a
Trying.
saying for that, right? There's a whether you can or can't, they're both true.
Yes. Yes. And what's Michael Jordan used to say? I missed all the shots and I never took.
Right. He also said, "I think I've taken like a million shots so I can make 10,000 in the game or something." That's like, so anyway, but
Yeah. So I think assumption that it's not gonna work is one. Uh, Not even trying. It's kind of the same. The main one I see is the belief that I have something that cannot be changed. This could be
uh,
your voice, this could be your communication, this could be your temper, this could be, oh, I'm just afraid and that's it. And I do want to talk about fear, by the way. We touched about fear in the
yeah.
beginning. I want to talk about this more. But there are just some ideas that this is the way I am, and that's it.
Well, well, exactly. So I think okay, that ties to a fear. So I know one of the biggest ones I ever had to come over is a fear of success, and that's tied to thinking that you're going to lose everything that you've gained. I still have it. It's still present. Like, oh my God, what if I lose? Like, it's typically, by the way, fears are never you never get everything you want, and you're usually not at the very rock bottom. It's usually somewhere in the middle, and if you're out, if you're thinking correctly, it tends to trend on the higher end. How do you talk about fear? What's your
So,
angle on that? As part of how this relates to just your interactions and
so
architecting?
number one, and I'm really wondering if somebody watching live, if somebody can comment later on. I've been asking people quite a lot about this. Did you ever had a training on how to work or overcome fear? And in majority of the cases, no, people didn't have a training. The only people that had some training is if you some kind of working on the stage in a theater, or maybe you're in martial art and you need to have a fight in the ring, or maybe military. Pretty much everybody else has no touch and no explanation how to work with your fear. And I'm trying to focus how to work with your fear and not how to completely eliminate fear, because I think fear is good. We spoke about fear and excitement before, but let's give a different example. If you see a kitty cat on the street, no problem, that's all good. If you see a lion or a tiger on the street and there is no fear, something wrong with you. You should be afraid. You should be afraid from the lion. So
Mhm.
fear is a good mechanism. Now, how we work with fear is different. If I can understand I am afraid doing XYZ, I already fixed part of the problem, because part of the problem resolution is understand I have a problem. Now, let's give some very, very simple practical examples. If I'm afraid, I probably anxious. and I probably breathing much faster because this was actually happening, or we just internally all kind of locked. So if I learn how to reframe the fear, if I learn how to focus on something else, if I learn how to slow down my breathing, automatically, this is a word I really like, you go to do
Automagically
something.
coined.
Yes, I just call it automatically. So one thing that I think it's quite important is breathing. Usually during the day, we breathe from 10 to 12 breaths per minute, maybe 15. If we're afraid or we are kind of in a panic mode, this could be 20, 25, 30. But if you slow down and let's say do box breathing, Navy SEALs, you can read about this online, and you inhale for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5, and repeat. What just happened? Every cycle is 20 seconds. So you now move from 10 to 15 to 3 breaths per minute. I'll guarantee if you do this for 2, 3 minutes and you will actually be in this focusing on the breathing, you will feel differently. You will slow down. You will go more into the zone. I didn't invent this. It's not mine. It's been around for a long time. There's many other similar ideas at doing something similar as well, like yogi breathing 1 to 2, inhale for 4, exhale for 8, for example. But there is ways to work with your fear, to help you with this fear, and to transfer this fear to something else. And from what I know, majority of the public speakers have their own routine to get into the zone. Could be music, could be a dance, could be some kind of movements as well. So we can work with our fear. We don't need to eliminate the fear, we just need to transform it and understand this. I also think fear, and back to excitement, it's mean we still care. If I ask you to present to 2 people, you probably will not care. 5, 6, 8, 10, 20, 2,000 or maybe 500, depending on the number, you will feel something else. You'll feel the fear, excitement. And it's mean fear is an indication in many cases that something new is happening, something a bit unknown happening. So just use it as an indicator that something cool gonna happen and don't think about the bad things. The other part, there is the entire idea of NLP that's related to psychology that we can do only certain things in the same time. I can talk, I can walk, I can maybe do something else, look on my watch, but I'm not talking about multitasking right now. But there's only number of things I can do at the same time. So if you think that you're focusing on a fear during a presentation, for example, then part of your focus points will be focusing on the fear and not will be focusing on slowing down your voice, not will be focusing on looking at the crowd, not will be focusing on the delivery of the information, not will be focusing on using your voice much better. So by transforming the fear, you're actually using this focus point somewhere else.
What's maybe the last since through COVID, do you see any changes on the most important soft skills to have?
During COVID, the most important part is changed is that we now working here. I'm not in the room where I see everyone. So I lost this personal connection and I need to find this personal connection in a different way.
I will tell you, like I know some people, and it still kind of resonates, right? Is prior to COVID, I used to, you could work a room no problem at a conference, like just meet people, and I remember going to my first kind of 2,000 person kind of conference after COVID, and I got to tell you, I had to go sit in a corner for a minute and just just I was like, good God,
Overwhelmed.
a lot of people here. And I still feel that now where I'm I work from my studio mostly and we do a lot more one-on-one. If I'm with somebody sitting, totally can be focused way better at the conversation because I've just gotten better at asking questions. But just the randomness of it and ooh, I could tell you, yeah, I lost some skills there a little bit. I got to go regain. Um, and I don't enjoy it as much. It's weird how that works. Like it's I guess my point with that is as things happen in your life, whatever else, uh, your skill set changes as well. And it maybe take a few minutes to explain why, but it certainly does. I mean, because I used to be better at one thing and I'm better at something else now that I used to be terrible at. So tell me why it changes. I mean, outside of COVID, that was an extreme, but
Yeah. We
why does
just
that happen?
used to stuff. We used to stuff. It become natural. when I started to present with COVID, it was very unnatural to talk to a camera. Like even right now, talk to a camera. It could be 5 people, it could be 500 people on the other end. For me, it was very, very different because I like the energy of talking to a big crowd. I saw the people, I saw the face. It was very, very interesting. And when I talk to a camera, I almost feel like I'm talking to a wall. But with time, I get, okay, this is what it is. I got used to talk to the camera. So now when I talk to a crowd, now it's different because now I see reaction. Now I need to walk to a crowd differently. In a way, we all very adaptable, even if you think or not think about it. So we're adapting to changes and we stick with them because it's convenient. And our mind doesn't really like so many changes. And we slowly need to teach it to be more dynamic. But usually we just adapt and then it's hard to go back. I think I'm a quite an extrovert, but yes, I agree with you. When you talk to one-on-one and you don't talk to big crowd over video, when you go back to big crowd, like, oh, and now I need to talk to you all the time. I cannot just turn off the video and go check something else. I cannot say, oh, sorry, I need to take a call and just close this conversation because we are face to face. There is no just shutting down and leaving.
Just kind of
We
walk
just,
away. Well,
yeah,
bye.
bye, I'm done.
Where'd he go? I have to go to the restroom. I'll never be back. Um, that's a great technique. Check, please. When you're well, actually, for just kind of so, who do you know? How do you help people? So, what's your, you know, not your business, so to speak, but how do you help people, and or who should get a hold of you? And screw it, do a straight shameless plug for yourself.
Definitely,
It's
thank you.
easier.
So, as my full-time job for the last couple of years is was it's still cybersecurity consulting. I have bars, MSSPs, and vendors in cybersecurity consulting. What I'm doing right now with the book is I'm helping people with soft skills and how to connect better. So I'm doing workshops for vendors, for companies, for the sales teams and sales engineers and the SDRs, the internal sales teams, on some of the techniques, some of the ways how to reframe their mind, how they can connect better. And by connecting better, they can sell more and achieve more as well.
Awesome. Do they go to softskills.tech.ca? Is that the best way to go to you?
Yes, or just find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm very accessible there and connect to me. Not too many Evgeniy says got, so it's very, very easy to find me there and connect to me there as well.
Do you work one-on-one with people, or how does that work?
Usually it's a team that I do a workshop, but I find it more and more CTOs, the technical, very smart people, need sometimes more focus, more time, more explanation to get them where they need to be, to help them to outcome what they have in their mind in a different time, in different work, in a different type of language.
Yeah, it's a different thinking because definitely technical people sometimes struggle with um, filters.
Yes,
and
and I'm a
and
technical guy, so it took me time as well.
yeah, well, and listen, I was in this spot as a developer, but not. I favored more on the soft skill consulting side, easier than understanding technical, getting in the weeds, passion, right? But I understood how to talk with the technical people because they're not always angry. Everybody, by the way, technical people always seem angry. They just seem annoyed that you don't get that. And so,
Yes,
but that's the soft skill they need to learn is that, hey, you're super smart and you operate on a level that people don't operate on, but you also don't operate on a level that a lot of people don't operate on, or that do operate on, which are soft skills. And I think the thing I would tell a lot of people is just from my own experience of working with technical individuals specifically, if you're trying to get past being in a technical role all the time, or you're trying to make more money, or trying to advance your career, or trying to sell more because you're a technical founder and you're struggling, your soft skills are your limiter. You don't realize it because you're just you, and you're seeing the world from your lens, and people are seeing you from theirs. And relative to what you're trying to chase, you're outperformed in the soft skills category. Like, and if you're seeing any hiccups, this is the self-reflection, the tie, so to speak, and you cut is understanding your current self is holding you back. You just don't realize it because you have all the answers technical. Why does anyone see it? But if you can't communicate, people don't like you or don't want to communicate with you, you're never moving forward. And that could be as an entrepreneur. And if you think, oh, I'm leaving corporate to go do it myself, you're going to run into the exact same problem when you're trying to sell a deal. If not, it'll be worse because now you'll realize in that moment, oh shit, there's no one else to blame but me. Or maybe my parents. Maybe you'll just blame your parents at that point and you'll move on. But
I think metaphors are the secret weapon for majority of the stuff.
Give me an
Find
example.
what
Yeah.
find what the other people care about, what they know, and use the metaphors to there. The easiest one is kids, houses, cars. Like, for example, I spoke about the idea of being present. Take care of yourself. Don't take so many meetings, quality of over quantity, because if you're not present, if you have a headache, you cannot sell, you cannot do what you need to be doing. And the metaphor is the car. We're taking car to maintenance. We're not waiting until we have the check engine, most of them. And we doing proactive maintenance to the car to make sure we're actually replacing the filters or whatever need to be replaced uh, when they need to be. So the same here with human body, with the soft skills. You can use this metaphor to explain to people what need to be done. You can use other metaphors that people understand because people understand the car, people understand the house, people understand the kids. So use something in their life to explain your idea, to explain what you do and why it's important to them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I like to use analogies or metaphors or similes, to it helps people who are in the weeds with a problem get out of those weeds, so they can see the analogous discussion and be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Because when you're but that's a skill by itself. The good GPT use, if you can say, here's my problem, you do a brain dump, can you help
Yeah,
me create a small metaphor that concisely outlines why it's really
good
good
idea.
at doing that. It's like probably one of the best use cases for AI. This is the metaphor.
Besides
Um,
grammar,
yeah, exactly. I think look to the future, right? Tell me a little bit how maybe technology of how do you where do you see this going? Like, is from a development standpoint, or what soft skills are going to be most important moving forward? Like, what? Give me your take on kind of the future of soft
it's
skills for
from
success.
yeah, from what I see, the simple task will be able to done by AI. But the people skills, the communication will not be able done by AI. At least I don't see it right now. It'll take quite a lot of time for AI to understand, to read all the cues from you to see how to change yourself. I don't see it happening right now in the near future. So by putting time, putting the effort to learn soft skills, to learn people, to learn the adaptability, to learn how to communicate to a number of people and different type of people. Don't forget, we all different. Every person consume information differently, and they also have something else taking them. So learning communication styles, learning the people, learning who they are and what they do will help you to advance in your career, achieve what you need, and this part will not be taken by AI. So as much as we say, oh my God, AI will do everything, no, it will not. Spend time in this part. And don't forget, you can train and you should train soft skills, not at your work. You can train soft skills by buying groceries, talking to the cashier, make them smile when you're waiting in line, when you're ordering food, have a joke with the waiter or something like that. Get this tiny, tiny out of the comfort zone, 80-20, all the time to see what's happening, to see if it stick, to see if it's resonate.
One of the nicest soft skills I heard someone say for introverts to use was cashier example was to ask, how is your day going? And they could be like, my mom died. They could say something great or something, won the lottery. I'm quitting today. The next response, regardless of what they say, typically that you can use is, I do hope the rest of your day it goes better, even better. Because that way, if it was great, it becomes even better. If it was horrible, it's like, I hope it becomes even better. It's positive. And it's a nice way to see people be like, thank you. And it's a simple 2-question thing that doesn't really matter what their answer is. And if they don't answer, you're like, well, I do hope your day got better, because you might be like, you're just obviously having a shitty day.
So
So
you mentioned introverts. I had a chat with a dear friend that he's an autist, and I didn't know actually about this. And we actually recorded an episode about soft skills for autism. I was blown away because I cannot understand everything happening there, and majority of us not. So he explained the use, he explained what's changed, he explained the entire idea of this small talks doesn't mean anything to him in majority of the time, and his friends in the same area as well. So there's so many different people that consume and understand information better. I'm talking better about consuming information. You don't always know. So if you're talking to someone they don't understand, one of the things you can do is, if there's a better way for me to explain this to you, don't try to do the same. Don't try to explain this again in the same words. Understand them. Be guided. and ask for guidance. This is also an important soft skills.
Love it. Uh, Thank you so much for coming on today, by the way. Once again, get a hold of Evgenia. I want to say Evgenia because I have a different pronunciation. Evgeny, sorry. It's just respect that I get where the name comes from, I think. And it sounds cooler, in my opinion. Evgeny. Softskillstech.ca, correct?
Yes.
And for anybody not in the US or Canada, that's .ca is Canada, not California. Though we may think that
.com as well. It's the same website.
you got .com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can find this on Amazon as well. The book, you just put my
Yeah.
name, not too many Evgenys, and list the million to LinkedIn. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep, Architecting Success, name of the book. It's not like, it's not when you buy it, just know you can get through it and you can read it. It's something that's consumable. It's not a war and peace. So definitely a good place to start for you. Like you've written a good sized book as opposed to like, oh man, I'm never.
This was the idea.
A book, like, I'm not even trying. I'm not even gonna go there. Yours is like the good, like it's got the right thump value. Like, all right, I can get that done. Good coffee morning, get your day right. Read Architecting Success. I appreciate it. All right, all you technical people listening, go get this done. I assure you, if you're very good at, there's a direct correlation or inverse correlation of super awesome technical skills and poor soft skills. So if you think you're super technical, your soft skills suck, just so you know. Admit it, go with it. It's kind of like if you play Fortnite and you can never win, there's a reason you're not very good at something. It's not lag, it's not your machine, it's because you're not very good. Other people are better.
Good analogy and good metaphor.
See what I did there? I did the metaphor there. I was trying to get one in there. I'm terrible at Fortnite and I quit, which was one of the things I'm not supposed to do. But the realization is that it's a waste of time for me. But for you, it might not be. Thank you. I'm going to put you in the periwinkle room here in a minute, but thank you so much for coming on today.
What amazing.
Hey, thank you for everyone who's gotten to this point in the show. But, if you have any comments or you have any questions, please reach out to our guest and, through the soft skills tech.com or .ca. Put it here on the screen. We want to help you get better at entrepreneurship. Your communication, your soft skills are, they're critical. Like that's the moment where you connect. That's the moment you can win a sale or lose a sale or get someone to trust you or like you or want to refer you. I cannot stress enough how important those skills are. And, the Architecting Success book is a very good read for this. And it's a very good place to start if you just don't know what to go do or how to organize or architect your own success. Until we get it again, by the way, get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur. And thank you so much for listening.